Welcome back, everyone, to Halloween Haunts 365. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Terry.
What are we doing today? Parmesan chicken?
Oh, we're doing an interview with Matt
Yep.
from Laurel's.
Yes. He does a lot at Laurel's. We're going to get into that. We got any house cleaning we got to do real quick?
No, it's still early.
It's not
Well,
early.
no, we have St. Patty's Day
St. Patty's Day Haunts. In our
next
area, we
weekend.
know that Bennett's Curse is open, Field of Screams is open, and Brighton Asylum's open. We're
Yes.
heading to Field, but I don't know when this comes out, so we might have already covered Field. So, whatever. And get your tickets for East Coast Haunters Convention.
Yes, that's coming up too.
Yes, we got to look at that. We got a lot of stuff on the hopper. And in June,
And in
June 13th, we're going to be at the Blairstown Diner for Friday the 13th, the 40th out of 50th, 40th, 50th, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, we're going to be there vending
Yeah.
with Night of Terror, and I'm going to throw stuff at Brian all night.
When's that start? Do we know a time
I
yet?
don't, dude, girl, come on. Let's just get this. All right, but I'm done wasting time. Let's bring in Matt from Laurel's House of Horror. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Well, how are y'all?
Good.
Good.
So, just tell the people out here what your title is at Laurel's House of Horror.
So the official title is operations manager. Obviously, there's a lot of hats underneath that title, but operations manager is the main title. So I oversee all the lighting, sound, projections, animatronics, anything that plugs in. Is all me.
Yeah, so that's a big taking at Laurel's House of Horror.
Yes, and it's kind of on me for making it more involved now, but we're getting it to where we all want it, which is really fun.
Very cool. Very cool. So, how did you get started in the haunt industry, and what led you to Laurel's?
Sure. Kind of big backstory. So I had a lot of family that worked at a local haunted trail when I was a kid. I was always infatuated, but I was super scared. So I would make my mom drive me to the parking lot and we would just sit there and listen to everyone scream. It was awesome. I loved it, but I would never go on it. And then later down the road, I had a close friend in middle school that ran a haunted barn that we did for just the school. So that would have been like 2007, 2008. And that really started the addiction. Um, then I started home haunting a little bit. And then high school came around. I found a local haunted barn and trail nearby and spent 3 to 4 years with them. And then I moved to college and kept at it and found a local haunt that was close to school and just did what I could. I think while I was there, I was doing 2 to 3 a season. I would just kind of move around. Obviously, I had that one home base, but it was really fun to just meet people and just have different experiences in different places. And then when I moved back from college, so that would have been 2017, I ended up going back to the haunt with some of my old friends from high school. And then we all decided, hey, let's go to Laurel's House of Horror visit because we've never been. And then as soon as I walked in, I was like, wait a minute. I want to be a part of this. It was like everything just kind of hit me hard. I was like, I see what they're doing. I want to help. And then that night we found Aleo and exchanged numbers and emails, and that's how it began.
It's kind of the same thing we
Right.
had going in the Laurel's. The second we were done that, we were like, I'm never missing this place again.
Right, right. It was so
That is
impressive.
so true.
Yeah, it was. If you guys haven't been for real, we're talking to a damn artist right now because the lighting and all right. What inspired you to focus on lighting and technical direction for the haunt?
Sure. So I've always been a theater kid. I've loved theater since I was a child. And that kind of started that whole aspiration and love for just light and in general. I'm very lucky. My mom she loved to go see shows. We would always go to the Hippodrome. We would go see any local Cirque du Soleil whenever it came through with the big tents. Um, so that definitely started my passion for light. And at a young age, I started collecting like little park cans, and I had like a little lighting console next to my drum set when I was a kid. So I would like play a song, change the lights, go to the next song. It was awesome. And through that, I did high school theater, and then went to college for lighting design for theater. I initially was planning on trying to go to Broadway and live in New York full time, but I quickly realized that wasn't the flow I think I wanted in my life. So I took a couple steps back. I also, when I did that, I started focusing on music more. But then that's also when I found Laurel, and then I realized this is it. This is what I've learned through theater, but in a haunt environment, which is what I've been wanting my whole life, without really even recognizing it until that point in time. Um, so yeah, no, I just feel really lucky because we're all very theater based at Laurel, and obviously haunted houses overall are very much theater based, but I feel like that kind of gets ignored and has been kind of ignored throughout the past several years. So our goal is to kind of help reestablish what it is in its true form, and that's basically the short story on the upbringing and the love.
Yeah, I might have to have you here for dinner one day, and we'll go over the lighting in here because it's a damn nightmare.
The light is crucial, and there's a lot of psychology about it, and that's why I'm really thankful for my theater training, because I didn't know that before college. So now when I'm doing a haunt and lighting a haunt, it's definitely way more mechanical, and there's way more finesse involved.
And that's the one thing. Like, we just started dipping our toes in the behind the scenes footage, but
Mhm.
I don't want to
Yeah.
do it with the light haunting. The light haunting. What is? I'm glitching tonight. With the haunt lighting, I want to do it with the shop lights on because
Sure,
I think the lighting just gives away the whole show.
sure,
So it's a way to see the scenes without seeing the scenes.
sure.
Right.
Just
I would love to show you both because our show, it's very drastic with the shop lights on. It's very much, hey, we had this around, let's just paint it and put it up.
yep.
Uh, so I'd love to show you both, and we're all open. We don't mind any spoilers. We want everyone to see it. So
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
let us know. We got you.
Oh, we'll
Oh,
be there.
the
uh,
whole team is amazing.
Oh yeah, no, it's incredible. I'm truly, truly honored, and it's baffling the amount of talent. So that's why when we first went, we met everyone. I was like, this is the zone. Let's lock this in, and
yeah,
we got locked in.
I think it was Mandy that reached out to us after we did it during the season, and she's like,
Mhm.
"Guys, come back. We want to talk to the." I didn't think she'd know she'd be stuck with me for years, but she has been. So sorry, Mandy. Can you share a bit about your role and what the day-to-day responsibilities look like?
Sure. So I guess let's look at a normal operation day. So I usually get there. I try to be there by between 1 and 1:30. That gives me time to generally do most repairs, but the first few things I'll do is I'll turn on the air compressors, let them slowly build up because they take some time. I'll go around, open up all the exit doors so they're good to go. So we all have easy access to everything. And then I'll start actually turning on the show. And then generally what I'd like to do, usually by 2:33, I like to have everything on and I walk through and take notes, try to see what's out of whack or what's broken, and then once I do that first walkthrough, I'll go in, do all my work notes, and then after that, I'll do another walkthrough just to double check. Is generally what I'll do, and then once we're actually open, I'll usually just kind of hang back, stand by unless something breaks. I also will try to act, but it really depends on the repairs. If I can't get repairs done by 5, then I won't act. It gets a little bit too down to the wire because for me, especially if I'm performing, I want to be ready and locked in before 6:30, all decked
Right.
out, ready to go. I also want the show all ready to go. So if I'm not in that mindset, or if something still needs to be done, that's going to take me till 6:30. I just won't perform because I want to be out in the queue line at 7 is my thing.
I
I
like
get I get really
Hmm.
upset if I'm a little bit late. So
it. So you guys open for multi events in the off season. So what's your build time look like or setup for lights? I mean, is it
Sure.
like an
So
everyday thing? Do you set a set month or?
pretty much. So like, let's look at Christmas. I think once we shut down after November 2nd, I think I took just 2 days of just being at home, and then after that, went in and put up all the Christmas lights. All the Christmas lights by themselves were, I think that was about 10, 14 days total.
Yeah.
Then we went through, we started getting some volunteers to come help us with like the actual like presents and the rest of the decor. And then once that was done, I started programming the two shows up front. But this year was kind of hard because the gentleman that we were renting all of our props from decided that he wanted to clear house. So he came in and grabbed all his stuff after I put up all the Christmas decor and Christmas lights. And a lot of the stuff got destroyed. So after he was done, we had to go back and do it again. So that was pretty stressful, but we got it done. So generally, with an event like that, I generally need 3 to 4 weeks. But luckily,
Wow.
I just found, well, not just found, but I just started having one of my friends, Alex, who I met through the paranormal tours. I've had him come out and start helping with all the tech stuff because he does helicopter mechanic work, and I was just like, oh, if you could do that, you could run some wire.
Yeah, you can pull this off.
So he's been a blessing. He's such a sweet dude, and he's down to do whatever. So up until then, it's mostly just been me. So now I have help, and I'm really excited about that.
Awesome.
Wow.
But there's certain things I can do by myself for sure. There's certain areas in the building where I definitely feel comfortable being in by myself, but there are those areas and there are those tasks where I want someone else around. Like if I'm working on the lighting in the hotel, I love to have someone nearby just because those walls are all 16 feet tall. If I fall, if I'm there by myself, that's it. So generally with that kind of scenario, I like to have someone nearby.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Um, and then also in terms of the paranormal, like our town, I don't like being there by myself. So I usually will work with at least one other person in that area.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we've heard stories.
It's intense. They know how to make my life really hard. It's actually funny today. I powered up the building because we had a close friend come by to see the show, and everything was working great. We started the walkthrough, and then pound was totally down, and it just didn't make any sense. And I found the issues, and a couple of our surge protectors with the little on-off switches were completely turned off.
Huh.
They always stay on, so I think it was our ghostly friends.
You don't have enough work, right?
No, and man, there's days like during the normal season where they just get really ramped up, especially in that theater. And it happened this season. I think I lost power in there 3 or 4 times in one night, whereas on any other night, it's fine.
That's
So
crazy.
there's an element that I have no control of that keeps me on my toes all the time.
Wow.
So this adds to that. What are some of the biggest challenges you face when setting up and maintaining the lighting throughout the season?
Sure, yeah, definitely the ghosts. And really, it's the hardest thing is me because I'll have like a big thing I really want to do or put a light really high up in the air. So I feel like for me the biggest challenge is how do I get to that certain area and how do I run it at least cabling wise so it's clean and kind of blends in or totally hidden. So that's definitely a big challenge. But again, ladders and our slanted floor are the normal. I will never get over how challenging that is on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. It's weird when you walk in because you're
Mhm.
like, damn, I'm going down like a movie theater.
Yeah,
But then you kind of like adjust to it after a while. It's very weird.
it's also very hard on the knees after the past.
Oh.
I've been there since 2019, and my knees are a wreck. So it's brutal, but I mean, it's worth it. It looks good. It's a good, I guess, in a way, it's good cardio. So
I
just pull up
gotcha.
But I guess another thing is that I'm always, at least Aleo and I, we're always tinkering. We're always thinking. So that that ends up just being another challenge because we always want to do all these things, and it's a matter of material and time and whatnot. We dream a lot. So
Oh, I know all about that.
Oh, yeah.
I get yelled at for tinkering all the time.
Like, what are you doing now?
Leave me alone.
but it's fun. I like that there's really no, we're lucky. There really is like no like set of rules. So we're always trying out little things. If it works, let's do it. If it doesn't work, let's see what we can to try to make it work. And if that ultimately doesn't work, let's find something else. So it's fun because there's really no pressure in that way.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
How do you use lighting to enhance the scenes and create atmosphere? I know we touched on that a little bit.
Sure. So I do my best. For me, it's knowing what the scene is, especially knowing like what the scene after is, because that affects my decision making. Um, but for me, the number one is world building. So I'll start with that kind of premise to kind of give the outline of the scene in terms of light, and then I'll go through and figure out where can I take the eye while they're in the scene to distract them and give that actor more of a chance to do their thing and have that scary be even more heightened. So generally I'll start with like texture. I love texture through light as like a basis, and then again from there I'll start doing like little pin spots to again take the eye from the customer. And then again, it's all about where the scare is, what the overall theme of that area is as well. And then for me, the most important element is the exit of the scene. And that goes back to the little psychology thing I was saying earlier. But if you make the end of the scene slightly brighter than in the scene, the customer will automatically see that's where they need to go. That's their destination point. So setting up something like that, I can control the amount of time a customer is in a scene slash how quick or how fast they're moving through that scene. So a lot of little things at play that I try to take and notice and try to manipulate.
Never even thought about that.
No.
It's like almost like the grocery store thing. Why is the milk at the back of the grocery store? So you walk through all the aisles.
Yeah.
And then like McDonald's, the brightest part of McDonald's is where you take your order. The dimmest part of McDonald's is where you sit down to eat. They want you to get in and get out. That's why it's
right.
Little things like that.
Well, there's no windows in casinos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Look at that. You learned stuff. Did you learn stuff today? Good. So, can you share an example of a lighting effect that really stood out in this year's haunt?
Sure. I'm thinking of a favorite. Obviously, the town square. That's we've put in a lot more work into that, and that one's super obvious. You're drawn into the center of the scene, and then as you're weaving around it, you're still seeing that exit, but you're still seeing everything around you. So it becomes, where do I look?
Yeah.
And then that again opens you up to potentially having a more heightened scare because you're not looking at the right thing at the right time. So that to me is number one. As an example, I guess the other would be probably the new club scene in the hotel, where that one is obviously you walk in, you have your immediate foreground, middle ground, background relationship, and then you're able to, once you hit that first little corner, you're all in. Everything's all around you, your eyes going everywhere. So those would be my top two favorite examples.
Yeah, they're mine too. By the town square, is that the start of the Jebediah cult?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing blows me away every time I walk in there.
I love that room.
And I'm gonna guess there's a little make them look up in there too, because you're constantly doing this in there, and then they're under the fence and everything. It's perfectly set up.
It's fun. I'd love to add another if we can at some point, I'd love to add another animatronic in there. Like I'd love that scarecrow when you first walk in. I'd love that
Yeah.
lunge down at you, because at that point you're already looking around. So if
Right.
that were to happen, I feel like that would be
Honestly, I've never even noticed the scarecrow. I just noticed the skeleton pile
The
in the middle, and
skeleton.
it gives me everything.
yeah, it's a lot. And I don't know, I definitely have some lighting ideas I want to keep adding in there this year. So
Oh boy.
hopefully that'll happen either before halfway or right after halfway. We'll see.
Halfway.
I can't wait.
I want to hit like 10 haunts for halfway. They're all like staggered. We can hit a few this year.
Yeah, we just have to sit down and make a
I know.
list.
Maybe no, I won't be at the hotel early tomorrow. Maybe Tuesday. How do you balance practical lighting for safety while still keeping things terrifying?
Sure. Again, this is like out of my theater training. I love bright. I feel like we have one of the brightest haunts, at least in this area. So to me, generally being bright helps with the safety. Another reason why I went bright is because of the makeup. I want
Yeah.
everyone to be able to focus and see the art that's in their face. So I think we do really well there in terms of brightness. I have started taking notes, and I'm realizing that there could be more small areas of just darker. Um, but it kind of gives me anxiety just because I don't trust every customer. I trust most customers. I feel like more of the bad incidents happen in darker areas. So
Yeah.
that's why another reason why I've generally tried to be on the brighter side of things.
And that, like, I'm going to tell you, the Christmas show this last year was probably one of my favorite shows I've been to at
Oh
Laurel's.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Um,
there
the
was a lot.
lighting was amazing. The characters, I mean, you saw every detail.
Oh yeah,
And I get haunts trying to be dark and creepy, but when the makeup team could do what your makeup team does, shit, I'm ready to put spotlights on
exactly. And
that.
when I first started doing the lighting for them, that was one of my first things. It's like, guys, if you're cool with it, I'm gonna make it bright. I want everyone to see your work, and I think that's been a huge help and a
Yeah.
huge awesome tool. So I'm always going to light the show in that manner, but again, once I stay bright, if I give you a small moment of dark, that small moment of dark is going to hit even harder.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's another fun advantage.
And you're 100% right on the safety. Remember that one we went to, the trail,
Oh yeah.
where there was no lights, so we
No
almost
light.
went down a hill twice?
Yeah.
And like,
That was before I broke my ankle, so I had balance then.
oh geez, no, I've seen a lot of shows where I loved what I could see, but I could see other elements that weren't popping, that made me kind of like, oh, I want to see what that was. Because again, to me, it's sensory overload is definitely my style as well as Aleo's style.
Yeah.
Um,
And it works.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to mention the haunt. We were in a haunt, and they had this beautiful scene,
mhm,
well done, crafted beautifully. You couldn't see shit.
yeah,
But then they had, I guess it was like a ship room where they
sure.
had like the window,
Uh-huh.
but it's still wood colored. Like they didn't even paint it, but they
Mhm,
got a red spotlight on that. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
yeah.
Why
No,
are you hiding the good shit?
trust me, I have to keep my thoughts to myself a lot when I go see other shows. No offense, I still have a fun time, but from a lighting perspective, sometimes I'm just like, I wish you did this instead. But I don't know. I feel like in terms of the haunt industry overall, I feel like light is the most underutilized and least understood element.
1000%.
And my
Yes.
personal goal before I die is to help facilitate more knowledge, um, so that people could be their best and people know more. I want to see this thrive. I want, if everything looked like Halloween Horror Nights, to me that would be a victory.
Let's calm down.
No, it's a big goal. It's a big goal. But if there was just a little bit more knowledge, I think all the shows would be even more strong.
Yeah. Yeah. Lighting and sound, without a doubt. That's
Absolutely.
where even some of the big dogs are missing.
Yes.
Yes, unfortunately.
We'll leave that there. We'll talk about that more after. What kind of equipment and technology do you use to create different lighting effects?
Sure. So I have a huge arsenal of equipment, and I've been playing around with a lot of different things the past few years. But obviously, one of the big go-tos are the standard like 12-volt haunted house spots. So I have a lot of 12 volt in the building. I have a lot of just regular 110 volt lighting fixtures. So I have like par cans that I'm old school. I love gel. I'll even gel all my little 12 volt guys because that just gives me more control with color. Um,
Hmm.
so I use all that. I also, to me, our biggest tool in our arsenal are lights that project pattern. So I could make it look like if you're going to a scene, you see this wall next to you, I can make it look like light is coming through like a broken ceiling and you're seeing the pipe shadows and whatnot on the wall. That to me is my favorite and I think our most powerful element that we have because that automatically helps establish world building a little quicker rather than just like a spot pointing at the wall.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of static fixtures like that. We're starting to get more moving lights, as you saw in the pre-show and the indoor queue. I'm trying to find moments within the show where I can make moving lights be effective and make sense. So that's something I'm hoping to have mostly done for halfway. Um, but we'll see. But in terms of lighting, those are the big tools I use. But again,
Gotcha.
I can't reiterate enough. Gel is so important. I use a lot of it. Every single light in that building is gelled.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, you're learning a lot today, aren't
I
you?
am.
Look at you. It's like you're on Sesame Street.
You're an asshole.
Are there any unique lighting tricks or illusions you've implemented that guests may not even realize that are happening?
Probably the texture. I don't think people realize the texture lighting is actual light. Um, Outside of that, um, I love the little flicker modules, like all my little 12 volt things. There's at least one flickering light in every scene, if not more. There's not one scene without it. That to me, I guess, could be something that you acknowledge as, hey, this is the world, but you don't acknowledge it as a flicker unit on a light, you know? So those are two really important pieces that I think help convey a lot.
We're gonna take a break from the haunch real quick. It's pouring out. You have nowhere to be. You got popcorn, and however you make popcorn. What movie are you putting in?
Oh, um, well, my all-time favorites is Session 9.
Okay.
I feel like that's an I feel like it doesn't get the love it needs. I love that movie.
I need to revisit that because I don't remember anything about it. That was, yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, it would either be that or oh man, I love watching the Kubrick Shining.
Okay.
I'm a sucker for that one.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
That was one of the reasons I went to HHN the year I did go, was they had a Shining.
The
Oh,
Shining.
nice. That's
Yeah, it
cool.
was pretty cool watching the elevator bleed.
Oh,
It was.
I wish I could have seen that in
I
person.
pissed off the lady that tried to mow you through. I'm like, calm
That
down, go
was
sit down.
cool.
Besides besides lighting, what other technical aspects do you oversee?
uh, Sound, projection, and now animatronics.
Okay.
Air has been the biggest learning curve the past 2 years for sure.
Air, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Um, there's still a lot more I need to learn, but I'm working with what I got, and so far we're okay. But I'm slowly realizing I need more air to make it more consistent and strong.
Let me see if I still have this picture that I can send you later. Um, I should. I don't remember deleting it. Oh, I did delete it. Of course I did. Because I delete everything. I got a behind the scenes tour at Dark Hour with
Oh
Alan
yeah.
Hobbs.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, they got a compressor, boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo!
I just started doing the research. I know what we need. I don't know if we can afford it. But I did the research. I could do our building safely with one machine. And that would also give us room to grow and add more animatronics over the next probably several years. But again, it's cost.
Mm-hmm.
Also, everything right now, air is upstairs in the booth. So I don't even know if I could get a unit like that up there.
Right. Yeah.
So that becomes another challenge. And then it looks like they have ones that we could work that are either 208 or 240, which is definitely a lot easier in the building. I was looking at one that was 480, and I definitely got confirmation that it cannot power anything 480, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I would love a compressor like that at some point. But
Yeah.
pretty much right now, it's one compressor per theater. And
Okay.
plus another separate compressor for the just the voodoo hallway. And then I have two other smaller separate compressors kind of hidden, actually three, just to do air blasts. Because I realized that the air blasters were taking out everything from the main compressors. And I've noticed that it's definitely a lot healthier having them on their own little compressor. So
I can imagine. Your favorite.
Oh yeah. They
and
get me every time.
there's going to be more. I bought 3 more at Trans World. So
Oh joy.
They went shopping.
yep. I love them. I love them to death. If we could touch people, I probably wouldn't have them. But since we can't touch people, that to me,
They're sneaky because you never say it.
No.
and it's also the sound. And like my favorite little thing about them now too is that I could put a light on the same controller, so you can get hit with air and then blinded at the same time. So it becomes like this whole what. So
Wonderful.
that's been a fun thing to figure out and play with.
What?
I'll be really on the edge.
You'll be fine. So, how do you integrate lighting with other effects like sound, fog, or animatronics?
Sure. So it's like looking at animatronic. It's to me, it's all about how much of it and when I want you to see it. So obviously, like the animatronic will have its own sound already, but I'll find that it's fun to give the animatronic like a light on the face of it or off to the side of the face of it to kind of give it shadow, and then give it a separate light from the back to silhouette it. So, for instance, like when the animatronic first starts up, I generally will start with a backlight so you don't see the form or see the face and only see the form. Um, and then I'll start adding in a little bit of that face light so you can try to figure out what it is, but I try not to put too much of that in because I still want your mind to process what could this be. So I like elements like that. In terms of other lighting and sound things together, definitely the pre-show and the indoor queue. That's a lot of specific and time-consuming work.
Yeah, I was wondering how many times do you throw your coffee or slam the
Right.
keyboard or
Oh man, that's another thing because I've just started using that software for Christmas, and that was scary, especially with everything else that was happening in the building. But I think I've developed my flow pretty well. I feel pretty confident on that software now. But my biggest challenge, excuse me, is sitting in a chair in that building for more than 8 hours at a time. Like when I'm in that building, I'm like, I'm ready to let's rock it. I need to do this in this theater today. I need to do this in this theater today, and then just run around the building for 10 hours. So for me, my hurdle is being able to be like, it's okay, you're sitting here. This is the job. It's a few days long, but it's, I don't know. I kind of start going stir crazy when I'm just sitting up in the concessions. So I need to get like fidget toys or something. Um, but luckily, I mean, unfortunately, I can, if I need to step outside and smoke, I'll just go do that. So I'll try to like give myself a goal, like, hey, you need to do this minute of programming before you could step outside.
Yeah, before you get your fun. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So doing little things like that have been helpful, but no, it's fun. Seeing the end result is such a relieving part. So like with those kind of shows, I'll go in, I'll do a full rough draft. I'll sit down, I'll take my own notes, put my own notes in, and then I'll invite Aleo to come down and sit with me, and he'll give me notes, and then I'll add those in, and then we'll watch it again together, and then we'll finalize it. So
Yeah, the last 3 we've seen have been amazing. So
Oh, yeah.
thank you. I'm gonna have to do 2 new ones for halfway. So
2 new ones.
yeah, I'm gonna have to do a new pre-show and then
Yeah. The other one.
Yeah.
but I'm really hoping I'm gonna try to convince him so that the halfway one could be the same as the season one, so that I could just leave it. Unless we have some sort
Do you
of
guys know how to just leave it though? I don't think you do.
no. The whole my big hope is to keep the Valentine's, like that's all on SD cards, so I could just pull it out and put it back in whenever. But my big goal is to just let those 2 shows be, put those SD cards in for next year's Valentine's, and then we just press play. But we'll see what happens.
Now, is it a full file where you would have to completely pick it apart to change little things, or is it like a whole redo?
I would have to pick it apart to redo things,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And since it's timeline based, if I accidentally nudge something too much in the middle, it would shoot straight down the line. So then I have to sit down and figure out how to get it back in line.
God bless you guys, because I get so frustrated with the stupid little videos we make. Like if something does, I'm ready to throw them out. I'm like, I'm going outside. Fuck this.
Yeah. No, I have my moments. It was really hard during Christmas. The indoor queue side again was like 33 minutes long. For whatever reason, when I played it back the first time, right at the 24-minute mark, everything was a half second off.
Oh.
And not everyone will notice that, but to me,
you're gonna notice it.
It was bothering the shit out of me. So I would put the SD card back in my computer. I would just pick a random spot and scoot it over slightly, and I just went back and forth until it was close enough. But my goodness, that was horrible. I was very upset.
Oh man, it's that little shit too. That half a second spot that just.
Yep.
I gotcha. What's one of the most complex or ambitious effects you've done in the haunt?
Definitely outside of like the pre-show and the indoor queue, probably the town square. That's the only one where it's light, sound, and animatronic.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah. So that was definitely ambitious. I'll have to show you during the behind the scenes whenever we do that. But just my cable runs going into the center is.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. I love all that shit.
I like that wide. It's pretty. It's when we first started doing that, I was like, "Oh, this is easy. This is gonna be like 4 cables," and then it ended up being like 20. And I was just like, "What is happening?" And I'm trying to get better about this, but I didn't label any of that. So if I have to fix anything, I have to trace everything. So now I know.
Wow.
So
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a huge shout out to the sound too, because there's very few that go as hard as you guys do.
No, thank you.
And
That's
that's one thing I'm noticing is separating even some of the bigger branded named haunts. They're having a hard time with sound.
yeah.
Just
So
because others are all the way up here,
yeah,
it's kind of I mean, I love their haunts. I'm always going to go, but you can hear it.
yeah,
There's a huge difference between like I'm going to say you guys and Reapers and then other places.
sure,
Right.
sure. No, and again, Leo's been wanting more sound. I've always been like, sure, let's do it. I'm down. I like loud. I'm also a metal drummer, so I'm used to very loud all the time. Um, but this past season, he had me go to Fear Columbus, and I experienced what real brutal sound was. They're definitely louder than Reapers somehow. It doesn't make sense.
Aw.
But that was like experiencing that. I realized, hey, this is right. We definitely need to keep going down this alley. Um, like they had a scene where they had a dual 18-inch subwoofer that I think maybe you're just a couple feet away from set. You literally have to walk by it, but it's on a sensor. So you walk in that room, you hit that sub when it hits that bass drop right when you're next to it.
Oh
It
wow.
felt like my eyes were gonna come out of my head. Like it
Holy
was
cow.
so incredible. And like it made me not be able to process or think about the rest of the scene and what was happening in that scene. And then that for me was my epiphany moment. I'm just like, okay, yep, let's find more speakers. We need to do this. Um, so yeah, sound is crucial. There's at least a speaker in every scene, if not multiple. Like that little voodoo area now, the swamp area. That's actually 3 speakers, 4 actually,
The
including.
whispering is amazing.
Oh yeah,
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's so clear but like muddled so it sounds like it's one of my favorite walkthroughs just for that.
yeah. But it's been challenging finding the correct gear. Um, per the budget because we could buy cheap speakers all day. If we crank them too much, it's going to not sound crisp. It's not going to sound clear, and it's just going to give everyone headaches. And that's not the goal. We just want it to be clear but loud, but also overbearing.
Yeah.
We don't want it to physically hurt you. We want it to be able to really take you into a whole nother dimension and have you not be able to focus. So that's been helpful. Also, subwoofers are my favorite thing in this world. So I'm always shopping around and trying to find used subwoofers whenever and wherever I can. So
It's smart. That's like how we got our gimbal.
Yeah.
um,
I hunted on eBay for a year.
nice.
Because I mean we don't film a ton. Like we do a lot of midway videos, but
Sure,
I'm not gonna bring a gimbal to haunts. Like it looks like I'm recording inside.
sure.
So like only certain haunts I bring it to. So I wasn't spending $300
Oh
for
no,
it.
no, no. Those things could be outrageous.
Yeah, so I found that for $20. It's a little slanted. I can't calibrate it, but I can fix it in post. So fuck
No,
it.
that's
And it's
awesome.
only slanted to me,
Sure.
just because I can see the green lines on the camera.
Yes, I'm all about finding used stuff. I've been trying
Yep.
to find more used lighting equipment. That's been a huge cost saver, and again with the audio, that's been very helpful too. But also too, animatronics. I've been trying to help the haunt find any used uh, animatronics that are still working in decent shape, and that's been a huge money saver as well. So
We'll
use
talk
used
more on that when we're off air.
cool.
I got some ideas. Um, are there any new technologies or innovations you're excited to bring to the haunt in the future?
Definitely more of the actor triggers. I feel like that's awesome. I feel like they're very effective. But specifically, the controller that we use for the new club scene, I want more of that in the building as an actor trigger because that I can I can control really fancy higher end lighting equipment with as opposed to just standard little 12-volt spots.
Yeah.
So that's the only area right now with an active trigger of that caliber. Um, So I definitely am more gung ho on getting that in every theater, hopefully this year or next year. It also makes changeover to these seasonal events so much easier because I could just plug right into that controller, re light the scene really quick, just put it back into the controller and then move on. Because for instance, with that club scene, I used to have to climb up to every single light with a ladder to change the color. But now I don't have to do that. I just have to plug in my computer. So the more of that we can incorporate in the future, I feel like it would be a really cool technology and a really effective show element.
Very cool. Um, so we know the answer to this, but we're just gonna ask it anyway. How closely do you work with the rest of the creative team to bring new scenes and effects to life?
Very, very close. So it's generally Aleo, Mandy, and I will start having like, what if we did this? What if we did that? And then Aleo and I will get together and like look at a physical scene. We'll draw it on paper. And then we'll start just throwing adjectives at each other until we find things that we really like. And then from there, we'll make a more thought out drawing. From time to time, we'll use research image. And then once we have a scene idea or a scene aesthetic for sure concrete, we'll then talk with Mandy and then we'll talk with Bliss and then they'll start coming up with makeup and costume ideas. But yeah, very, very, very close every day. It's awesome. I love it.
And that's reason number 4,750 million why I don't own a haunt is because I would never fucking stop coming up with ideas.
It's hard, man. Like my downfall, I don't have any of the ideas. I don't really have many of the ideas when I'm at the building. All my ideas come up when I'm trying to go to sleep. Like as soon as my head hits the pillow, and I have to write everything down, and then I have to put everything on my phone as a note, and then because the phone, I'm up, and then I have to like I'll wake up the next day and be like, oh wait, what was this idea? And then I have to reflush it out.
Yeah,
But for me, it's usually when I'm in bed or sometimes when I'm in the shower.
there you go.
Yeah.
For me, I do a lot of, and I mean 5, 6, 7 hour drives by myself.
Sure.
So it all like I'll get so deep into I'm like, what if I do this, 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 and then we can do this, and then like, how the fuck am I in Tennessee? Am
Yeah.
I supposed to be in Tennessee? Was I looking? What the hell?
I feel that. I try to do because when I'm on the road with my bands, that's something I try to do. I try to dream and think about other haunt stuff just because I do a lot of the driving when we're on the road.
Yeah,
And that definitely helps pass time.
it does. And then I'll start messaging her. She's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Listen, I already had this conversation in my head. You're late.
Yeah, you send me weird texts.
I do. And I'll send her my notes too, like when I'm thinking
nice.
about it. Yeah. So she's just like, "What?"
But sure.
Yeah, I'm insane. You know this.
Oh, I know.
Okay. So, have you ever had to completely rethink a lighting setup because it didn't work as expected?
Yeah, a couple of times. My first little iteration of like the voodoo hallway, I wasn't really stoked on. Then I relit it again and liked the second round a lot better. Um, I'm kind of now starting to think about that overall with the town. I feel like the town I really could start touching up this year. Um, I've already started thinking of new ideas to help make that pop even more. So usually what I try to do, I'll if it's something I won't if I don't fully love, I'll make it work for that event or for a certain amount of time, and then I'll incubate on it for a little while, and then once I have the time, I'll go back in and really take my time to just do little things at a time and just make it as precise as possible. But I think maybe only a couple times I've had to just move lights around because it didn't work, just because they just didn't make the shot that they needed to make, or they didn't cover the ground that I necessarily had thought it could make. Um, so yeah.
So we did that question.
Yes.
We did that question. Um, do you have a favorite haunt or horror movie that influences your light design?
Ooh, oh boy.
Because I
Obviously,
mean, I'm sure you've been to plenty, and
I've been to a lot. Obviously, anything Universal is a huge inspiration. Um, and again, definitely Fear Columbus. That whole show, lighting wise, too, is off the chain. Um, but outside of that, a lot of what I go back to is from my theater training. I'll think about shows I sat down to experience. Um, Also, just photography and paintings in general. I try to surround myself with. And it's generally I find myself resonating and looking back at that kind of art more than I'm looking at another haunt. Um, One of my favorites is Gregory Crewdson. He's a photographer, but his work is just stunning. So I will often find myself maybe even like once a week or once every other week. I'll just go through a lot of his works just to numb myself out a little bit, but also just get as inspired as possible.
very cool. So, what's the most rewarding part of your job?
Opening. Oh my goodness, the sense of relief once the first couple of groups are in. I'm just like, okay, it's on, it's running, the machine's good. Um, that to me is so rewarding. I love with those nights where I'm not acting. I will just kind of hang outside and just watch everyone get excited, and I like to watch people leave and say goodbye and say thank you. So the smiles from that really mean the world to me. But another small thing I just love, I'll go up to the booth while the show's running, obviously to check equipment, but I'll just kind of stand up there in the dark and just listen to all the chaos and listen to all the screams. And it's such a cool feeling.
Yeah, there's screams in there, right, Terry?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's so fun. I'll take you guys up there when you come to the behind the scenes, but it's a fun little zone, and you can look in each theater, and I can like see if an effect is working the way I need it to from up there, or again, I'll just kind of stand there and listen. So,
That's awesome. Have you ever had a guest react in an unexpected way to the lighting effects?
um, no, every I'm not trying to boost ego or anything, but I think everything I've done has been doing what I've intended it to do. The only like bad thing was someone who ignored the strobe warning and had a seizure because they
Yeah.
were
Mm.
epileptic. That's one of my biggest fears. I don't want anyone to have that happen to them, and something I've helped work on. Um, so that I guess would be the only adverse bad thing. But other than that, I think everything has kind of worked the way I intended, as well as the way as Aleo had intended. So very proud of that.
So, what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone interested in working on haunt lighting and tech?
Absolutely. Take your time. Picture it in your head, draw it out, play with your options before you commit to something. And then from a lighting perspective, distribution is key. Um, if if you walk into a scene and there's a static figure in the left hand corner, depending on how you light that is going to change the whole vibe. Like if you just put a light on the top pointing at the face versus putting a light from the top pointing from behind to etch out the silhouette. Play with the options because you can find different combinations on one little thing that make it feel even more scary than it is. So my biggest piece of advice is just take your time, play with different angles, um, and play with movement as well. That comes down to like the flickering effects thing. Um, Movement and distribution, I think, are key elements to a quality lighting design,
Very cool.
as well as color. Color is important.
Yes, agreed.
So
Because there's only one thing that makes that junk pile turn into beautiful, and that's haunt lighting.
yes,
Yes.
our
I'll
client.
never, ever forget the first time we walked Reaper's Revenge hayride in the day. Remember we
Yes.
rode with
The
Todd,
very first
and
time.
I'm like, what? What is all the hype? What is
Yeah,
this? Is
yeah.
just a pile of shit over in the corner.
That's
But
why
then,
I'm a little anxious to show you guys with the work lights on.
no, we love that stuff now. Like
Yeah,
it's
because
just we
now we
love seeing the
know.
difference.
Yeah, but no,
Um,
that's like most haunts.
yeah,
That's my growing up haunt wise. That's what it's been, and it still works. So why
yeah.
not?
It makes the show. It's
Yeah,
what makes it the show. It makes
It
people
does.
spend the money. It's everything. That and sound. I mean, if your actors are on, the makeup's on, the sound's on, and the lights on, I don't give a shit if you have an animatronic.
yeah, absolutely,
I
absolutely.
mean, they're fun, they're cool to look at, but
Yeah,
we all know the other shit makes the haunt.
absolutely. I agree.
So, what are some? This is the last question I got. What are some of your favorite aerial haunts?
I'm sorry, area or
Yeah,
area?
like around where you are, or
Oh, sure. Um, my favorite, I love them so much, is Field of Screams in PA.
okay.
I love going there. I'm inspired every time, and I'm always blown away every time. So they're way up there for me. Um,
We'll be there Saturday.
oh, awesome! I'll be there Saturday as well.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
nice.
We'll link up.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's go to the Chainsaw Bar.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Hopefully, it's open.
Calm down, Alki.
Definitely them. Bennett's Curse, I did work with when I was in high school. I really enjoyed that show, especially when. Did you ever have the chance to go when they were at Blops Park?
Not yet.
Mm-mm.
So they had this old location. It was like this big, like inflatable. It's like it's like the big thing that they put over like pools at like gyms sometimes,
Yeah.
but they were in like a massive version of that. And man, like that show was so insane. So that was a huge favorite of mine. Um, but outside of that, I really only go to Field of Screams. I haven't had the chance to go to Markov's yet, but
Oh,
Oh,
now that I have a helper that I can hopefully leave at the building this season, I'm going to be able to scoot out one night.
yeah. You
But
gotta get one night.
I know I've
We
seen,
may have a couple call outs around the haunt industry to go see Markovs this season.
right. No, that's they do that. They do that every season. Alea will just dip out one night, which is fine.
I
But
think it's important.
yeah,
And that's what I told a couple of the crews is like, listen, I know it's a night, I know it's an operating night, but you can't grow if you only see your haunt.
yeah,
right.
absolutely. And that was another issue. That specific issue was something I ran into at another haunt that I used to work with, and I had to get out of there because none of them really wanted to go see other shows, and it was a whole mess. So I was just like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna keep exploring, but no, I'm hoping this year I can actually scoot out for a night.
It's worth it. And just plan the whole night.
Yeah.
We were not
We
so
didn't expect
we
it.
didn't know shit about shit. And it was a Saturday night. I have two kids.
Yeah.
I share custody. So, I try to be fair. So I had them. I dropped them off at my dad's. I'm like, it's only 2 attractions. We'll be a couple hours.
Yeah.
Boy, was I fucking wrong.
No, whenever people will leave our haunt by like 7, and they won't get back until almost midnight.
Midnight.
So I'm just
Right.
like I can't leave the building functioning.
Yeah.
But hopefully this year I need to go see it, and it bumps me out too because we're so close with all of them. We hang out with all of them all the time.
Amazing team up there, too.
Yes.
I've fallen in love with all of them.
They're so sweet. But yeah, I want to go see them, and then I guess another favorite haunt when I have time to visit is Penhurst. I love
Okay.
that stuff.
We just went for Valentine's.
Oh, nice.
And they did a lot of different shit for Valentine's. It
Oh, I
was
bet.
the morgue was this entire like vampire party scene.
Oh,
The
that's fun.
entire thing. It was so cool.
It was
That's
a big
fun. I
party.
love that. Yeah, we
locking people in cages, making them dance. Like it was all, and it was an 18 and over
really.
deal.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I wish we could do that.
So, dude, like they called me fat the entire time. They were pushing me around. It was so funny.
I'm jealous with the stuff they can do in Pennsylvania. Very maddening. I wish we could do the same. But the first time I visited, they had this giant dude. I guess his hand was the size of my head, and he just grabbed my head with his one hand and just squeezed. I was just like, "Whoa, sign me up!" But I love their show. I love that crew. They're all so sweet.
Yeah.
We're really close with all of them.
Yeah, they do a good show. It's,
Yeah.
it's we're in the mecca of it all. I mean, I wish I was a little closer to Ohio for some of
Same.
those,
Same.
but I mean, I can't bitch about that's why like I understand everyone's love for HHN. It's beautiful. It's
Oh, yeah.
absolutely beautiful. But the push button acting just bothers me.
Sure.
And the constant line bothers me. So like all these groups all about HHN, I'm just like I got haunts at home, guys. Like I if there's a killer lineup, which there hasn't been for years, then I'm all in.
Sure. No,
But
I feel that.
it's just since 2017, nothing has been like I gotta go to Orlando.
Sure.
I mean, we will go come Epic Universe and Universal Monsters Land, but
Oh, absolutely. Same here. I need to go see that.
why didn't they done this sooner?
I
Oh
don't,
no.
I don't know.
Like the reason you're Universal are these fucking monsters. You should have gave them their shit years ago.
I'd assume permitting. Everything's permitting. I'm also really excited for their Las Vegas event.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
very interested. I hope it does well. It's
Same.
in the right area.
Yeah.
The Solace, the It escape room has been a really big success there.
Nice.
So I think if they change every 6 months, it'll work.
Oh,
But if they
absolutely.
start going 12 to 18 months, I think they're gonna have a huge fall off.
Yes.
Sure. It could get stale pretty quick.
But I understand you're talking 500K to redo all, so 2 million. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
Every
yeah.
6 months, it's tough.
That's brutal. But
Because I mean, it's not like around here where all right, 50 grand to change some of this. It's universal. They're not going to be able to do it.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm interested. I mean, it's in the right spot. Vegas is fun. Vegas, because it's also surrounded by what's that supermarket like experience?
Oh, that
Mart.
yeah.
Yeah, it's right by that.
Yeah.
you got to go do a Mega Mart. I went once and it was nuts. I
We
need
will.
I need a whole day in that place.
And I think they have Otherworld right by there too. So like,
Yeah.
it's an all day thing for families, and
Absolutely.
I think it's working. So I hope HHN has a lot of success there.
I hope so too. I think they'll crush it. The big seasonal haunt there, Fright Dome, generally is pretty brutal in terms of busyness.
Yeah.
And that's been very successful for so many years. So I think they're going to be doing all right.
I did the Freakland Brothers when I was out there for work one October, and that was it was old school meets new school with a bunch of shit I've never seen before.
Sure. Oh, that's fun.
It was 3 campers, not camper, but the
Trailers.
3 trailers.
Yeah, I've seen something like that where you have the little bridge that goes across.
Yeah. So I think they had like 5 trailers for all 3 attractions. One was witches, which they made a guest disappear, which was cool.
Nice.
The second one was vampires, and they shot a Nosferatu at you at like 50 miles an hour. It scared the shit out of me. But they had like walls closing in on you and like coming down on you, and like shock wires around.
Nice.
And then they had a triple X haunt. The Gates of Hell that you had to sign a whole nother waiver for, and that was just buck wild.
Oh, I bet.
But that was just they didn't open last year because the IKEA parking lot didn't allow them again.
Oh.
So, but yeah, it was Vegas is the right area.
I definitely agree.
And if this year-round HHN goes, who knows what other holidays a lot of haunts are going to start opening up on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have a ripple effect.
I think so as well.
Yeah. That would be cool.
That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, so don't hang up. I don't know if it's going to get rid of you, but if it does, just click the link again.
Okay. Cool.
Do you have any other questions?
Do you have a favorite scene?
In our building?
Yes.
Terry with the question.
It's tough. I love all of them.
If you had to pick one.
Shoot. It's between Town Square and Club. I love them both. I really love the Club because it's so new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like for me, that scene has been needing work ever since we built the hotel. We just never were able to finish it. So now that's like actually finished, I'm like really obsessed with how it looks. So I guess I'll just go with the Club.
All right,
Yeah.
I got one last question. I'm gonna throw you completely under the bus.
Sure.
What would you change about what we do?
Oh goodness. You guys are rocking it, man. Oh my goodness.
I love doing that though.
Please film more in the haunts. Please, I love the respect and the compassion to not spoil, but just show them. Just film it.
All right, we'll work
You're,
on that.
you're capturing amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Feel free. Like especially with us, just do the whole thing. I would love to see more of the intricate details.
I gotcha. All right. See, I'm looking for criticism too, dear.
Yeah, I know.
There's no bad press.
I know.
All right, so I'm out of questions. You out of questions?
questions.
Now that we have put them on the spot, and
Right.
yeah. All right, but like I said, if it kicks you out, just pop back in. I got a couple questions I can't ask you while we're still recording.
Sure. Yeah.
But guys, this has been Halloween Haunts 365. Make sure you get your tickets to the haunt for St. Patty's Day, even though this probably airs after that. But get your East Coast Haunters Convention tickets because it's a blast. You will see my giant ass walking around with all kinds of recording stuff. You gonna be there?
Yeah, I'm going to be there.
Oh, and July 13th,
July.
live from Blairstown, New Jersey at the...
Is it June or July?
It's July, because that's where we're going on vacation.
June.
No, it's June.
June.
Sorry,
June
everyone.
13th.
It's June 13th, Friday the 13th, from the Blairstown Diner, our first time vending. So we're going to be there. Night of Terror is going to be there. South Jersey Jason's going to be there. We're going to hang out at the diner where they filmed Friday the 13th for the anniversary. Yeah, it's going to be Jason's everywhere. All right, but if you guys like haunted attractions, make sure you hit the link, subscribe. We're rushing our goal.
Yes.
Yep. Did you subscribe?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right, guys, but we'll see you guys next Monday. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right.
All right, let me call Melanie. I don't know what she wants.
Nice.